Abby's green sheet. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing this time. Oh, that makes it easy.
See, I might.
Welcome to tonight's meeting of November 13th, 2023. First, do we have questions about anything on the agenda? Councilor Sadi?
No.
I do,
Okay.
but please allow me to put them off. Okay, so Highland Hills, in the staff memo, it said that there's a new master plan that's nearing completion. Do we have a date certain of when it will wrap up?
I do not, do you know?
The goal is to obviously have it done before the end of the year. They're just doing some final tweaks. I think we've received a revised draft just recently.
Okay. Is that item postponed?
That's what they wrote on my copy.
Is the item postponed?
The Bender's lease agreement is the one that's been postponed, not the modification of the
Okay.
interim, the amendment for the IGA.
Okay, I'm talking about, it's resolution number 37, approving the interim agreement between,
Yes.
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you answered it, but I was.
So it is as being, I'm sorry.
Getting feedback or something off.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so related to the Carol Butts bills,
Okay.
originally is for a one-year extension. They asked for a year and a half. We're still targeting to have it wrapped up next year, but obviously it gives us a little buffer. Both entities were working on our PRNL our vision plan, and they're updating their strategic plan for their organization as well. So we're trying to make sure that we can make sure if there's anything that comes out of those processes that we want to also integrate into this, it allows us that capability. And so that's the reason for the additional time.
Okay. My next question is, oh, I think I answered it when I was reading the memo, so I'm good. Thank you.
Councilor Baker?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the really pickleball court was moved from the west side of the shopping center to the east.
Are you talking related to the MAC?
No.
No, I'm
Sorry,
talking
John.
about,
No.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I was thinking.
Purell, sorry,
Yes, it
apologize.
was. Originally planned on the west side of
10A.
the building. It was originally planned for the west side of the building.
and that's why the people in the townhomes had written the correspondence.
That's correct. It was originally planned there. We engaged the community. The applicant took the feedback and decided to move it to the street side.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
No questions.
Councilor Mel? Any reports? Councilor Zadi? Councilor Seymour?
Yeah, last week, Thursday, I attended the Parks and Recs Library Open Space meeting. There was an update, significant update on the Westminster Hills Open Space. And that open house is next week, I believe. Tomorrow, okay? I'm off a week. I lost a week someplace. Friday, great Veterans Day ceremony. Thanks to everyone who put that together, and there was no snow, so that was even better. And Friday evening, I attended the chamber farewell gathering for Juliet Abdel, who is moving on to bigger and better things. I guess you could say that in Topeka, Kansas, someplace, I guess. So,
And where are they at in their search?
I have not heard, the last thing I heard was they had over 100 applicants.
So there's
They had-
3, and their vote was today.
Was it?
One of
Okay,
them.
good. Yeah, because I knew they were narrowing that down quickly. Stopped by the Turkey Drive, Westminster Fire in Arvada, Westminster Fire 1, go Fire. And I think that was it for last week.
Okay. Counselor Emmons?
I was out of office.
Counselor Baker?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem?
A couple of things. So, Inclusivity Board this last week, they had a discussion about the recommendations, what to do with the funds that we talked about last time. And it sounds like they, if I remember right, they went ahead with the idea of putting the money towards the utility fund. At your suggestion, they like that, so I believe that's what will come back to us whenever that comes back to us. I believe we still have to approve that. They also had a lot of questions around, now that the election's behind us and wards were passed, how that's gonna happen. I know we don't exactly know that yet, so I told them that my understanding was that there'd be some sort of task force to look at that. They certainly were interested in being involved in some way. I did share with them that a lot of drawing the lines has, state dictated law about how that happens as far as how the balance. But that my understanding was, probably one of the areas was how many wards. That's something we have to decide. So that's certainly something that they could participate in. And I shared that I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'd be happy to share with them that we talked about, utilizing our boards and commissions as we figure out who the task force or whatever is gonna be. So they made sure that they wanted you all to know that they were interested in participating in some way, whatever that looks like. So I said that I would bring that back. The other thing I wanted to bring up, just, so everybody knows, I did get a phone call from Jean, the Westminster window around Kettner Lake. Being in my neighborhood, I certainly have heard a lot about that, and I appreciate staff continuing to work on that issue. I did direct her for any technical things to certainly contact city manager's office, but shared what we've been told, and that I certainly had advocated and asked for ways for us to look at refilling that, and the city manager's response I shared with her. So the other thing is, because I've seen a lot of bad information on, especially next door.
No.
In the neighborhood, I've been trying to take the information from Manager Freitag and share it with the threads that I get tagged in, so that folks know, what's going on, because I've heard some interesting ideas about what's going on, from we're trying to drain it to develop it to a lot of things that aren't true. So I wanted to make sure that we hit that head on. But in my thinking through that, one of the things I wanted to ask the city manager about was when we did our water roundtable, and I know I've brought this up in the past, it was mentioned by former city manager Bill Christopher that there is some sort of IGA historically that would allow us to get water from our neighbors in an emergency situation. That's the only time I've heard that IGA mentioned, and there was ask after that meeting for us to research what he was talking about, because I certainly would be interested in what that is. And it came to memory as you talked about the status of those canals that potentially could be used to fill Kettner. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to ask staff if that's something that you could follow up with council on, that we could get educated about.
Sure, we can absolutely run that to ground. I'm not tracking what that document is, but I'm sure someone on staff knows where to find that, and we'll get that out to the council.
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Counselor Newmont?
So, just wanted to also thank staff for the Veterans Day ceremony and just honoring all the staff, and that was really special, so it was a great event. And then I, last week, attended Denver Regional Council of Governments work session, and the governor's office gave us an update on their budget request. I'm sure some folks have seen that, others may not have, and I think just I'll highlight the interesting ones that, I mean, there's a lot going on, but I just wanted to highlight, so they're requesting, the governor's office is requesting approximately $136 million to go toward housing-related items. And so that includes strategic growth planning assistance, so housing plans as well as comprehensive plans. They are focusing in on accessory dwelling units and helping to get those financed, and they're putting or in that request, they're asking for about $18 million to assist in particular with financing those, since we all know how difficult those are to build. They're not cheap. And that's also something that, as a tangent, I don't think we currently allow for ADUs everywhere in the city. So, as one of the tools to expand our housing options, maybe that's something that we look at in the near future. I don't know where I know that was in the comprehensive plan, but, just where on the docket it might be. And if there is funding potentially coming down the line, we may want to move that up. And then they are focusing in on transit-oriented communities, of which I would say we have a few. And so the communities are essentially transit areas, so like Westminster Station and downtown would be a couple of those within Westminster. They're asking for $65 million to go towards that. $30 million would go towards in providing additional housing tax credits for projects in those areas. And $35 million would go towards infrastructure in those areas. And I thought that was